Hi everyone, my name is Justine Stephanson and today in my presentation I'm going to present my findings to my research question. What should early years teachers focus on to promote literacy development? I chose this topic because I wanted to learn about literacy development and how I can promote literacy in my classroom. Before I begin my presentation, I want you to reflect on your experiences as a student and as an educator. How did your teachers promote literacy development when you were growing up? As an educator, how do you promote literacy development in your classroom? Do you know the necessary components to include in your planning to promote quality literacy development? Today in my presentation, I'm going to present my research on literacy development for the early years and the themes that I came up with out of my research that need to be focused on when promoting literacy development in your classroom. While researching literacy development in the early years, the stages of reading development were discussed in the literature reviews and the research that I read. If teachers know the stages, it helps them plan for meaningful instruction. I'm going to outline some of the key understandings that stood out in my mind from stage 0 to stage 3 to help give a clearer picture and give you some background knowledge on how students develop literacy throughout the years of their life and in education. Pre-reading stage 0, children 6 months to 6 years of age, the focus is emergent literacy skills. Stage 1, initial reading and decoding, children 6 to 7 years of age. During this stage, there are more focus on phonemic principles, onsets and rhymes, and spoken symbols and phonics. Alphabet knowledge is vital as it is a prerequisite for fluency. Stage 2, confirmation and fluency. Children 7 to 8 years of age. Students need to be familiar with stories to increase fluency and continue to build automaticity in sight words and build comprehension. Stage 3, reading for learning the new. Children 8 to 14 years of age. The student's focus is reading different types of text to get to the knowledge in a variety of context areas. The focus changes from learning to read to reading to learn. Learning to read requires students to move through a series of developmental stages that overlap. One study outlined 3 major areas found to be critically important in the development of early and emergent literacy skills, and they are a strong foundation in oral language, an awareness of sound structure of language, much exposure and experience with print. I'm going to go through 7 areas that I believe teachers need to include when they are planning for literacy development in their classrooms. Children's literature. During my research, the different authors and researchers talk about using quality children's literature. They discussed how there are connections to literacy development and reading out loud to children. It was stated that teachers' knowledge of children's literacy is an integral part of the language arts curriculum. Students learn and develop emergent literacy through being exposed to quality literature. This helps develop a framework for teaching literacy. Teachers who educate young students must concentrate on helping students develop both the oral language and the emergent literacy skills that have been shown to facilitate learning how to read. Teaching students oral language is important because the knowledge and processes children use in oral language are similar to reading since reading is a language-based skill. When reading to students, teachers need to make comments, ask questions, and respond to students when they are curious about the words in the story. Talking about the picture helps develop vocabulary and comprehension. Students can form bonds through read-out-louds and can learn language, play with ideas, and build trust and understanding. Read-out-louds are one way to promote the use of vocabulary to describe emotions and to encourage empathy and caring between students. Children need to listen to stories and have discussions. Language is a powerful predictor for early reading success. Zambo and Hansen discussed books with song-like features, repetitive parts, and rhymes invite children to join with play with language and to experiment with sounds and words. Regular read-out-louds establish times for toddlers and caregivers to connect socially, emotionally, cognitively, and physically. Therefore, teachers can educate the whole child by reading and teaching using quality literature. During my research, many authors discuss children who participate in read-out-loud experiences often develop positive attitudes towards reading and demonstrate continued growth in literacy development. It is the discussions, questions, and responses after the read-out-louds that encourages and promotes literacy development. Having conversations and a dialogue is a natural way for students to learn and construct meaning. Listening to stories also helps students to improve their vocabulary development and learn new words. By providing time for discussions after, students can learn from other students' ideas and understandings to the story to help students gain new perspectives. Teachers can build oral fluency and literacy through modeling what good reading sounds like to their students through expressive read-alouds every day. Reading fluency is a key component of effective literacy instruction, and at least through the elementary grades, and students should receive regular instruction in reading fluency during these years. When the students learn to read with expression and use correct phrasing, the reader is able to convey and construct meaning with his or her voice. This helps students connect to the text and help them comprehend what they read. Another important aspect of emergent literacy is phonological awareness. Phonological awareness is the understanding that oral language is made up of sounds or groups of sounds. Using storybooks to teach phonological awareness makes the learning more meaningful and can help students to make connections to print. First, students need to learn about different lengths of sentences, identify compound words, and learn about syllables. After, students can begin to work on their blending skills, learn about phonemes, and the need to put the sounds together to form the word. Finally, students can learn about segmenting words into phonemes. Educators need to provide time for students to practice blending and segmenting words. Teachers who use words from stories allow their learning to be more meaningful. Finally, in addition to phonological awareness, literacy development is dependent upon the understanding of certain basic insights and observations about the forms and functions of print. Students need to be exposed to a lot of environmental print and make connections to different forms of print that's all around them. When reading a story to the class, educators need to point to the words. It's an imperative that students make the connection to words and speech, understand why there's spaces between words, and learn about reading from top to bottom and reading right to left to right. It is important to teach students about letters in a variety of ways and manipulatives to help with letter recognition. Children use their strategies from learning oral language to help make sense of environmental print. During my research, I came across an interesting quantitative study where kindergarten teachers to third grade teachers were assessed on their reading knowledge in 3 areas. The 3 areas were phonics, children's literature, and phonological awareness, and many teachers thought they were knowledgeable based on their perceptions of their teaching when completing the survey. However, teachers revealed a low score on the knowledge-based section. The author stated, "Teachers cannot teach what they do not know. It is vital that teachers are knowledgeable in literacy development to provide the best opportunities for their students. If they are missing key understandings, they need to take part in PLCs or collaborate with other teachers or professionals such as speech pathologists." Children are provided with numerous and varied opportunities to talk, tell stories, read storybooks, draw, and write are generally successful in learning to read and write. I believe teachers need to be knowledgeable in these 7 areas in order to optimize literacy development in their classrooms. Children need teachers who offer a variety of literacy opportunities throughout the day using curriculum that is meaningful, engaging, and cognitively challenging for the range of abilities and interests. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope I've given you a little bit more knowledge on how to promote literacy development into your classroom.